So you're looking for a payroll provider, you've heard of Gusto, you've heard of QuickBooks, and you've got some questions. So in this video, I'll be answering how these platforms stack up as payroll services, definitively whether Gusto or QuickBooks is going to be better for you based on both price and quality, and what you absolutely must know before you decide to use either. So without further ado, let's dive right on in and start off with what Gusto actually is. Well, Gusto is a modern HR and payroll platform which specializes in small businesses anywhere from about 1 to 50 employees. They currently serve over 200,000 small businesses across 100 different countries, so they're quite a large platform when it comes to the small business sector. If you haven't heard of them before, it's probably because when you worked for a larger company, you were receiving a paycheck through either Paychex or ADP or one of the larger payroll providers. Among small businesses though, Gusto is one of the largest. It's also actually what I use personally to pay myself a salary from 2 of my different companies, and I've been using them for about 2 years now at this point. Now that's for a number of reasons which I'll dive into right now. So for me, when it comes to a payroll platform, what's important is that it's easy to use, I don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it, and it's cheap. Okay, those are my 3 big criteria that I'm looking for with a payroll provider, because I don't want to be in the weeds doing my own payroll, manually filling out forms. Absolutely not. That is not where my time is best spent. And I am prioritizing a simple user experience that doesn't require me to know all of the technicalities of what is going on. And that's exactly what Gusto provides. It's a very streamlined experience. It's built for people that do not want to spend hours and hours inside of their payroll software figuring everything out. If you want to just click a button once a month, spend like 5 minutes in there, that is exactly what you get with Gusto. And that is one of the main reasons why I decided to use this platform. They also take care of all the taxes, withholding, and reporting for you, so you don't have to manually fill out any papers. Again, like I said, this is very important to me because the ROI on my time is much better spending it in my businesses rather than spending it in my payroll software trying to figure out how everything works. And then lastly, and probably most important for me, is that it's the cheapest solution on the market, especially if you are just getting started. So if you're a small business, only a few employees, Gusto is absolutely the cheapest way to go. Plus, they give you a $100 Visa card just for signing up when you use the link in the description below. You have to use someone's referral link. You don't have to use mine, but when I signed up, I used somebody else's link, got a free $100 Visa gift card, and it wasn't too bad. It paid for my first 2 months and then some of using the service, so no complaints there. But trust me, I spent hours and hours and hours kind of comparing different platforms, running the numbers, trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be cheapest for me now? What's going to be cheapest for me if I continue to expand at a certain rate? And basically in every scenario, Gusto came out ahead as being the cheaper platform. However, there are some negatives about the platform that I have both experienced and heard about that are important to keep in mind when comparing it to a platform like QuickBooks. The first of which is the customer support. So before signing up, one of the things that I ran into a couple of times is that I saw that Gusto customer support didn't always get the best rap. And personally, I have not had that experience myself. I've had to contact their support a number of times. I moved my business from state to state over the past 2 years, and so that has required a bit of paperwork. And every time that I've contacted them, it's been a very easy and seamless process. Things usually get resolved pretty quickly. The only thing I'll say is that they only have support during the work week. So Monday through Friday, they've got support. Saturday, Sunday, they don't. So hasn't been an issue for me. I've never had anything that pressing where it's like, I need to get this resolved ASAP. It's always just kind of been like, okay, I need to kind of get this paperwork filled out over time. And so the fact that they only respond during the week has not been an issue for me. Now, the other con is that it's not free. I mean, none of these payroll platforms are going to be free, but you could always just fill out the paperwork by hand, by yourself if you wanted to. That is absolutely not the best use of anyone's time, I believe, in my opinion, unless you are some kind of accountant or something. But even then, you should realistically be using a payroll platform. One thing that I will say is that Gusto doesn't actually start charging you until you run your first payroll. So you could get onboarded, get everything set up, and just kind of like be waiting to press that payroll button for the first time, because until you do that, you're not going to start getting charged. So it's very easy to just bring all your information in, and that's actually what I did. So I have 2 businesses in there. The first one I brought in, and then I brought in the second one right away. I just didn't start running payroll for about 6 months. So the second one just kind of sat in there for free. And then once I started running payroll, then I was paying for both. So that's Gusto. What about QuickBooks? So QuickBooks, very, very similar. They've got their accounting software, and then they've got their payroll software. These are different. You don't get a discount. They have a bundle, but it's literally the same price. Like, they don't reduce the price at all. They just make it a bundle, but there's no kind of discount for that. And there's no benefit to kind of using QuickBooks payroll if you already use QuickBooks accounting software. So that's something to keep in mind. Big misconception a lot of people have is that there's some kind of like bundle or discount there when there's actually not. Now, while it's similar to Gusto in a lot of ways, the first way that it differs is that it is more expensive. So if you're a 1-person operation, it's going to be more expensive. If you get to like a larger, like you've got a couple dozen employees, it could potentially be cheaper, because how the pricing is set up with both of these platforms is there's a flat monthly fee and then there's an incremental cost for each additional employee. So for example, on Gusto, it's a $39 per month cost, and then there's a $6 per employee cost on top of that per month. So if you're a 1-person shop on Gusto, you're paying $45 per month. Whereas on QuickBooks, you've got a $45 per month flat fee and then a $4 per employee fee. And that's on the basic bare bones plan for both of those. So you're paying $49 a month as a one-person business on QuickBooks. Now, as you can see, if you start to add more employees, then QuickBooks may actually become cheaper. But where that tends to reverse is when you have to upgrade to the higher plans. Each of these have multiple plan tiers, kind of like a 1, 2, 3 system where you get the bare bones, the normal, and then you get the really like premium package. When you start upgrading, that's when QuickBooks again becomes more expensive, because if you upgrade to the second tier on Gusto, you're only looking at about $50 per month. Whereas if you upgrade to the second tier on QuickBooks, you're looking at about $83 per month. So as you add more employees, you probably have to start upgrading the tiers. And that's when you start running into more expensive costs on QuickBooks. Now with QuickBooks, you're also looking at a pretty limited feature set when compared to Gusto, which again means that you have to upgrade sooner to the second tier. If you look at the bare bones tier of both platforms, you're going to get more features, more functionality, more kind of like HR perks, adding different benefits, retirement plans, things like that. You get more functionality on Gusto at the bare bones plan, whereas with QuickBooks, you have to upgrade sooner and kind of pay for all these additional things that you want to add. So again, costs just tend to add up quicker on QuickBooks, which is again one of the reasons why I personally decided to use Gusto. Now, the redeeming quality that QuickBooks has, in my opinion, is that I think it's probably a bit more of a seamless integration with the QuickBooks accounting software. I can't imagine that they'd make it more cumbersome to link those two platforms than it is to link QuickBooks accounting software and Gusto. So I'm assuming that if you use both of those, it might be a little bit more streamlined, but like realistically, I haven't found it cumbersome at all to kind of link the platforms as is and kind of like use QuickBooks accounting software and Gusto payroll software. So I haven't run into that issue, but I'm assuming it's probably a better user experience if you do use both of them. But could totally be wrong on that. Might just be the same either way. So to boil it all down, I think it's pretty obvious where I stand in terms of these two platforms. I think Gusto just kind of takes the cake overall in terms of being a more streamlined platform, in terms of being cheaper, in terms of being easier to use. All in all, I chose Gusto 2 years ago, and I definitely have never looked back since. It's been a very, very easy platform to use. And again, they have that $100 bonus where if you sign up using the link in the description below, you can get a free $100 Visa gift card. Again, you don't have to use my link, but you have to use someone's referral link. So make sure to do that. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about these two platforms, and I'll see you in the next video.